Hello, I'm Zeron, and I'm here to give you a breakdown on being a captain, specifically in the Reddit Dota 2 League. So, we need more captains, and there's a lot of hesitancy from what I saw during our little in-house the other day. There's going to be more in-houses coming, keep your eye on that. But I'm just going to give you an idea of what you need to do and how to do it, just to make it seem a lot easier on you. So first up, scheduling. This is what's going to be happening during the season, is you're going to need to coordinate schedules. That means with your own team, you need to know when people are available and keep up to date on that. Communicate with your team. And by doing that, you can then communicate with your opponents. So between the two of you, you can come together and find a mutual time. Once you have that, reconfirm with the rest of your team, and bam, you've got a match all set up. It's just that easy. In terms of specifics on the scheduling and all that, that will be to come with Season 2. You'll hear more about that on the Reddit Dota 2 League subreddit, but for now, this is all you need to know, is that you're just going to be communicating with your opponent to find a mutually agreed upon time. That's the only little annoying responsibility. The rest is where we get to the fun part. First up with that is the draft. So in terms of drafting, you as a captain will be the one drafting. Why is that? Why can't you assign somebody else to draft? Well, you could, but there are a lot of downsides to that, so I'm just going to say don't do that. Because pretty much, in order to call the shots, you need to be drafting. Because a lot of things depend on the draft. For example, the lanes are dependent on the heroes you selected, and why are you going to be, for example, as a captain, directing what lanes there are if you didn't draft in the first place? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I mean the overall game plan is based on those lanes. So, probably want to be the one drafting. And beyond that, not only is your overall game plan based on that, who's playing those heroes is dependent on that, and preferably you're actually going to know who's playing on what before you actually pick those heroes, which is an important but subtle point that can easily be missed. It's not so great if you pick a Shadow Demon Leshrac combo and there's only one guy who plays either of those heroes on your team. In which case, you're going to have someone very uncomfortable on one of those heroes, and it's going to be a harder road ahead during that game. So, in terms of drafting, you should be the one drafting as a captain. But then, you're going to get into the game, and that's where you direct your team. That's the core role of the captain inside the game, is calling the shots during the game. So what does that mean? Well, support rotation, for example, directing when the support is free to rotate and should rotate to other lanes, gank, mid, and so on. And that's part of why typically you see a captain in a support role. It's not necessary, but it is most common. They aren't tied up, for example, focusing all their attention, making sure they don't miss any last hits as the one carry. They're not in the off lane where they have to pay a lot of attention to positioning and not being caught out and trying to suck up as much experience as possible, nor are they mid in this tight 1v1 scenario. But if you were, for example, a one carry, you would be able to tell when your supports are free to rotate. If you decide, you know what, I'm fine, you can leave me alone in this lane, I'm good, I can handle it, get all the last hits I need without any support, go on, make something happen. Aside from support rotations, tower pushes, whenever you're grouping up is something that the captain is typically going to be the one to make the call on, so tower pushes are the most obvious, but not just tower pushes, but also smokes. If you want to come together, put together a smoke, try and find somebody caught out on the other team. Another time, when else would you group up? Well, that's Roshan. So if you're going to commit to trying to bring down the big baddie in the Roshan pit, that's going to be a call on the captain. Doesn't mean nobody else says anything or never suggests anything, but the call to make that happen will go through you as a captain. Those are the big things during the direction of the team up until the end of the game. Make sure it's clear that you as a captain are the one who ultimately calls GG if the game is just not going your way. It's going to be very unfortunate if somebody just casually throws that out there and expects to keep playing, because once you call GG, that's it. The game is over. You have conceded. It should be followed up by disconnects, not by continuing to play for another 20 minutes. So make sure you, as a captain, coordinate, decide with everybody else on your team, all right, that's it. It's over. Type it out. And then everybody else could follow suit as they so wish. So, all in all, be a captain. Okay, you don't need to worry about, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure if I don't know drafting that well. I'm not necessarily a leader. I find it interesting, but it's a lot of pressure. Yeah, there's no pressure. None. It's a Reddit Dota 2 league. That's what we're here for. It's so you can try it out and learn. This is about learning and getting your toes wet in that competitive environment. So if you are interested, go ahead and do it. If you're not interested, well then why are you even watching this video? And of course, if you need any support, I'm here to help. I was captain in Season 1. Caster, drafter, all over this season. If I can provide anything to help lead you along the way, glad to do so. You can hit me up on Skype. I'm Zeron, or just message me on Reddit, and I'll help in whatever way I can. So this has been a short breakdown on how to be a captain in the Reddit Dota 2 League. Hopefully it will be useful. And just a little side note, in the coming days, I will be putting out videos on the basic roles in competitive Dota from a simple level. We're not going hyper in depth, but giving you an overview on supports, on offlaners, mid, carries. Those will all be separate videos, and that will all lead up to a video on drafting and how the draft works. So that's it. That's how to be a captain, and take the dive if you're at all interested.